Record. Okay.
Ah,
I just had to find a separate way to get there. All right. So I'm going to use my favorite tool in the whole toolbox, which is the remove tool to get rid of this nasty name
hmm.
down here.
All right.
So the remove tool is is a phenomena. It is quite the tool. So I'm going to do this. It's going to perfectly blend that grass. And all of us will look and go, damn,
Ah,
because I used to spend
Damn.
hours doing that for clients. So it's pretty amazing. Okay, so his overall comments were that uh, everything was sharp and contrasty and looked good. And Mary Ellen used Silver Effects Pro on this, which gives it a little enhanced look. And but what the judge said was that the everything was sharp. In other words, these hills in the background looked almost as sharp as the grass, and the sky has been sharpened as a result. And if you blow it up, you can see that there's
artifacts.
artifacts up there. But
Right.
we're going to solve all those things.
Great.
This should get a first.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, what?
I'll re-enter it and make it a first.
There you go. That should have been a first. Excuse me, I'll be right back. I gotta cough for a second.
Well, as an aside, I don't use Photoshop, so this is really going to be illuminating for me.
Aha.
You have access to it though.
Oh, I have it.
Yeah.
I use Lightroom and I really don't know enough. Years ago, I did know, but it's changed so much and I get lost in it, so I don't use it. But maybe I will after this.
All right, here we go. Um, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the sky. And I did this earlier today, and it's not gonna be a perfect selection. So we'll see what it does. And I think that probably because Silver Effects Pro was used, that um, it's not the sky would have been selected better if it was just a regular photograph. But anyhow,
Eric, I thought I sent you the original. No?
uh, you did send me one, but it still had quite a bit of contrast to it.
Okay.
But I wanted to use the one you really submitted anyway. So,
Okay, that's fine.
um, okay, so I'm going to go up here to the quick selection tool, and I'm going to fix these problems with sky. So we'll go up to a reasonable size, and and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sweep this quick selection tool over top there,
You're adding two.
and it
Wait.
added to the
Yes.
sky. Now, because the judge mentioned the background too being too sharp, I'm going to add the background, which is this mountain, and even a little bit of the plains in between there uh, as part of this image. And if we blow it up, I can't tell if that's a mountain back there or that's a something that was on the back of that truck.
I think it's on the mountain.
You think it's a mountain, Mercury?
Part of it is and part of it
Part of
isn't.
it, yeah, it's both.
Okay.
Top part.
All right. Well, we'll go with the mountain. So you can also see that there are some little spots in the truck here that we need to fix. And I'm going to push the Alt key or the Option key on a Mac to get rid of the selection of these little pieces of window and the little dots that are on the truck itself. I would blow this up and look at it extremely carefully, but not for tonight. And so now we've got just the sky selected.
Eric, while you're there, if you look at the hood's got, I hadn't noticed it before, but it's got this cool glass kind of raised emblem thing on the hood that should be
Oh yeah, yeah,
background.
the kind of a hood ornament.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Now that I see it, it should be part of the truck.
Yes, that's a good catch, Mercury. We will make it so, number one.
Good. It feels like you're staying with the force.
So I'm going with the Alt key. So I'm getting the reverse. I'm taking this out of the sky so that I only have the sky selected. And there's a little piece of the truck maybe that we could get in there right there too.
There's
This
a,
does not
the
have to
ornament you didn't get.
be. I'm sorry, what?
There's a funny loop on the ornament, but
That little piece
now
here?
you got it. Yeah.
Okay. And all right.
Yeah, good enough.
Yeah, we could blow it up. I usually blow things up really large and fix all the little knit pieces, but we'll go with this
You
for now.
you got some sky showing through
Through the
showing
window?
through the windows. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Ah,
but since it's so soft, we could leave it, or it's easy to add it in. Actually, if I wanted to, I could just drag it inside of there. And now we've got a winder, as we say in I'm not going to choose it below the steering wheel. I'm just going to choose above it. But
Yeah.
so now we have enough of the sky to work with. So here's what I'm going to do with the sky. I'm going to soften that sky because I've read this in numerous photo books, is that the sky is far away. It should be out of focus. It should not be sharp. And with sharpening tools, if you read about how to use them, they often say, don't sharpen the sky. And so what we'll do is we will go to the filter and go to blur. And by the way, don't let any of this intimidate you because 90% of these are pretty worthless in my educated estimation. Gaussian blur or Gaussian blur, depending on how you pronounce it, is the one most useful in this set of blur tools. So I'm going to take that, and I had already set up a radius of 3, but I'll show you what that's the original. And then if I go too far, I'm just going to get a blurry mess in the background. So what I really want to do is get somewhere in the 3s that gives me the sky is still there, it's still relatively clear, and it's something that will now make the truck stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to say, okay.
I think you need to sharpen it more than that.
I'm sorry, what?
I think you need to sharpen it more than that.
Sharpen what up?
I think you've made it too soft.
Yeah,
Oh,
because the hills in the background too are yeah,
You've-
just like they're not there anymore.
okay. So I can easily do that. We'll go back to the filter and we'll go to um, blur filter, go to Gaussian blur, and let's go. I'm just going to say 2 just as a guess. Uh, yeah,
That's
I think
better.
that's reasonable.
Better.
Is is that too blurry for you, Mercury?
Still.
Okay. Let's wait till we get to the end. I'm going to go with 2 because I think that might work fairly well. But
Good.
oh, here's one thing that we missed in our selection. So I have to go back.
Mm.
I did not select this bar that's holding the mirror.
Oops.
Didn't notice that. So I'm going to make a small selection brush and I'm going to add the, oops,
Oops.
oops. All right. Um, okay. Now I've got everything selected and I will do that one more time. And because Mercury is concerned, I'll go to 1.5.
1.5. There you go. I really feel listened to, Eric. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So now we have 1.5. Now, something I found out in doing this is that I'm going to click off of this, and now uh, I can hit select subject, and it does a pretty darn good job of finding that truck in all that grass and everything else. Isn't that surprising?
Impressive,
Wow.
including the little glass hood of it.
Yeah, it figured it out. It's pretty amazing. The select subject is my second favorite tool because it has just gotten so much better than it used to be. Uh, I can't tell what this little piece is here, whether that it looks like it might be part of the truck. So I'm going to hit my quick selection tool and I'll add that little piece there. Okay. So what it didn't do was this grass, it didn't figure out a way to separate that. But I don't care about that because I'm not going to really affect that. Maryland did a nice job of depth of field, so we've got all this grass sharp. We've got the truck sharp. We just don't need the background to be sharp. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at uh, what the judge talked about is the contrastiness of it, and we'll just take a quick look. And I'm going to go to, and this is something if you don't know about it, you'll be somewhat surprised, but uh, originally when you go to make a black and white in Photoshop anyway, you go to adjustments in black and white and it gives you all these color adjustments. Well, guess what? It's already black and white when it came to me, but the file is able to retain most of that color information so I can affect it now, which so if someone sends you a black and white, or you make a black and white and think, oh, I got to go start over. You don't. You can use this. So let's look at the reds. There's not the, what color was the truck, Mary Ellen? Red?
Rust.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty rusty. If I think it might have been maybe originally green, but I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly.
All right. Well, we'll find out from this. This will tell us. So I'm going to use the red filter and I'm going to change it. And you can see that if I move it to the right, it brightens it up. But actually, I'd like to darken it down just a little bit. And this is all subjective. So uh, this is just me trying to do something here. And you notice that it's only affecting the area selected, not affecting the grass, et cetera, et cetera. I did find out, however, if I wanted to use a selection like this and use the denoise, any of the topaz stuff that's included in Photoshop, it does the whole image, not just the selection. And I was disappointed to see that. Uh, I don't know if you're in the original Topaz program, if it will do it, but the version that we have access to in Photoshop, it does not uh, affect only the selection. That's not
Interesting.
true with, That's not true with other tools in Photoshop, just the topaz tools.
Yep, like in Lightroom, if you select the sky, you can like denoise the sky, only.
Yeah, right.
Or yeah, you can just use the noise slider and just 100%.
Okay.
What if you put it on a new layer?
So I'm going to use the green slider. Mary Ellen was thinking there was green in there, but guess what? That was
I'm
not a green.
wrong.
That was not a green truck.
All right. It was pretty old. It could have been anything, I think.
Yeah. There's no greens. There's almost no cyans or blues. I'll bet there's some magentas. A little magenta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
So that's just to modify those colors slightly. And and then I'll say okay. Now with an image like this is an old Ansel Adams trick, and Ansel never met a vignette that he didn't like. So if you look at his images, 90% of his images have a vignette. So I'm going to go to the camera raw filter in Photoshop, which is the same as the develop module in Lightroom. And over here, I'm going to um, hit the vignette. I'm going to show you one other thing too, but I'm going to hit the vignette and I'm going to bring it in a little because we don't really need all the 100% of the detail in the back of the truck or this grass over here or the sky, certainly. Now, one tool I do like a lot is the Dehaze tool. I think that with Silver Effects Pro has already probably done some dehazing, so I'm probably not going to get much of an effect with it, but I recommend that you try this with your images and just see what it does. You could do a selection or you could do just overall. So I'm going to do overall just to see, and that's going to brighten up the sky, which we took some pains to reduce the brightness. I would reduce the brightness a little bit with the dehaze tool, and then I would go to my light and bring down the highlights so that the sky is not quite as strong and the whites are not quite as strong. And we'll say, okay. Now there's our image.
Can you fit it to
And
screen?
I'm sorry, what?
Fit to screen?
Mhm.
By the way, down here in the bottom, you can make the screen size whatever size you want. And I'm going to call it 120% and then hit enter. And then that'll size it up about the right size. Um, so what we need to look at is that when we selected the subject and made those changes, did it create some shadowing? See how this little bit of shadow on the hood ornament there? Uh, it creates some shadowing sometimes. So you have to be careful of that. The It could be the select tool, it could be the Gaussian blur, it could be a lot of things. But here's something interesting. I could spend some time, which I may have to do, but I'm going to try this without it first. I'm going to try this remove tool again. My favorite tool for just about anything. You can clean bathrooms with this tool.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm going to take it and I'm going to run it across that little shadow area. Whoops. Okay, I didn't want to do the whole thing at once. So I'm going to Control or Command Z to get rid of that. But I'm going to go right on that little shadow area and see if the remove tool is smart enough to get rid of what I want to get rid of. It did pretty good. Might do a tiny bit right there, but it did a heck of a job. So one of the ways you can solve that is you can select it and then clone in part of the sky so that it gets rid of that little glow. The other thing you can do is use the blur tool, which is over here. It's this, looks like a drop of water. It's right behind the sharpen tool. So the blur tool, you can use that and you could draw it just like I use the remove tool to draw. You could draw that and it would blur those background and that shadowy glow together so you wouldn't have that problem anymore. All right, let's take a quick look. We'll do a before and after. And so that's the before and that's the after. It might be a little bit dark,
Hmm. I think it
so
is.
we could
I think
do
you did too much vignette or
Yeah.
too dark with the vignette.
uh,
Mm-mm.
I think the vignette's okay. Let's see what happens when I uh, do image adjust, brightness and contrast. And it doesn't need any more contrast, so I'm not going to give it any, but I could brighten it up a little bit. I have to be really careful because that sky, especially that's what the judge was saying, was too strong. Oh, here's what we can see too. See how much blur you've got or glow around whatever that bar is that's sticking out of the side of the truck.
Oh, yeah.
You've got quite a bit of that there. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there, and so I'll demonstrate the blur tool in this just real quickly. Is that you just take it, you make it slightly larger than what you want to blur out, and you just draw it across there. Uh,
Oh, you got it zoomed in there, Eric. You can see there's a halo around the cab.
yeah, yeah. So there's a few things you would need to fix, and I don't know why this blur tool doesn't seem to be working at the moment. Uh,
Mm.
Hmm, it should it should blur that out, and I'm not getting a whole lot. I've got it 60% strength. The other thing you have to be really careful with tools is that you choose this tool, but don't forget about all the options up top. I chose a size, but I left the strength at 60. So I'll try it at 100 and see if that makes any difference. But it could be the tool's not working properly since I restarted my computer, which that has happened before. The blur and sharpen tool tend to be problematic sometimes when you restart. So maybe that's my issue. I'm not sure. Okay, so there's my image, and then there's my before, and then there's the after.
It's there on the before also.
Is it?
Yeah, look at the before. See
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it
that's
is.
true.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So that was in there in Silver Effects must have created that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the cab is a halo as well.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, right. Okay. So I didn't cause those problems.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's just by darkening the sky, you made it more evident as well.
Yeah, it did
Mhm.
make it more stand out a lot more.
One thing
Uh,
that you did really well with a slider for the red is you made the contrast of the truck better, and it does stand out better for that.
yeah, it made it a little stronger. I think so. I'll just do that remove tool real quickly again.
If it was my photo, I'd just get rid of the bar.
Yeah, I would too,
Yeah.
Yeah, good call, Rick. Actually,
because it just looks weird. What's it doing there?
Who
You know,
knows what it was for?
is it a sissy bar on a truck? What is it?
It'd be part of what's attached to the back of the cab that for truck purposes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, there might have been a post that came up there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, I think that we made some improvements. It was a good image to begin with, so that's not what the intention was. It was just to take the judge's comments and here's what he said, and that's what I drew from his comments.
Looks
Yeah,
just like looks just like Ansel Adams' truck.
It
Yeah.
does look
absolutely.
like Ansel Adams might have
Just
taken
has to
that picture.
stand on top of it.
So before and after. Okay. So we're going to move on and we're going to go on to something that I kind of started on last time. And this is an image from the either the Contra Costa or the Marin Camera Club.
Wow.
I did some judging up there, and this one was one of the images, and I thought it was actually quite good.
Hmm.
But interestingly enough, they require that you attend in order to get an award. And this person, I would have given them a first place in a category, but they didn't attend, so they didn't get an award.
Oh,
So,
no.
yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Uh, one quick thing I noticed is I see there's a little flaw there. So my favorite remove tool, we got rid of that. So now what we're going to do is I mentioned before that there's a few ways to expand an image in our last meeting. I'm just going to crop this real quick because there was a little edge there that I didn't like. Okay, so in order to expand it, we could do the generative tool, which we are contemplating allowing you to use the generative tool, and you just expand it like so, and then you just hit creative expand or generative expand, excuse me, and then generate, and it will expand that image for you.
Wow.
There he is.
Holy smokes.
And actually, I kind of like it better with it expanded. But let's go back. So that was just to demonstrate one way to do this. And so we'll go back. Now, here's another way to do this. And I want everyone to know about this because you can make minor corrections, not necessarily major corrections, but you can make minor corrections with this. And if I wanted to expand my canvas size with the image, so I could say image, and I go to canvas size, and it's 1,000 pixels wide right now, and I'm gonna make it 3,500 pixels wide and say, okay. Now, all that did was put background in there. It didn't do anything else. However, what you can do, and for I'm gonna exaggerate. That's why I said it's best for minor corrections, but it can also be used, as I'm going to show it to you today, for a little bit larger size. So I made a selection of this area of the dunes here, and I could clone it, I could duplicate it across and try to manipulate it a little bit, but I can just do Control T or Command T, and then you have to hold down the Shift key. If you don't hold down the Shift key, well, I'll just show you without holding it down. It makes the image bigger vertically and horizontally, which I didn't want. I just want to make it wider. So I hold down the Shift key and I can stretch that image. So, and this is
Wow.
completely legal, by the way. So if you wanted to do that, for an image where you just needed a little bit, and this is legal in the story categories. Let me qualify that. So, not in journalism, not in travel, and not in,
Nature.
yeah, yeah, not in those. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I don't want to interfere with that little shadow there. So Command T again, or Control T, hold the Shift key down and drag that over. So now I've got this wide expanse that this guy is sitting in.
Eric, looking in you can still see the edges there. Do you have to blur that out?
Uh, these edges over here.
No, right on either side of him, there's just kind of a real subtle vertical with texture, the
Yeah,
texture.
actually, I'm going to blow that up to so you can see. See what it does?
Yeah,
It kind of blurs it when you do that. So
Okay.
that's why it's really only good for if you move it an inch, it's going to be perfect. If you move it, as in this case, 6 inches on either side, it's gonna distort it slightly. But there's lots of fixes that I could do for that. I could clone some of this over here and improve it, but it was really just to show you could stretch your image a little. And in this case, I exaggerated it so we could stretch it a lot. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you something about a tool that I like to use. This is a very advanced tool because it's the hardest single tool to learn in Photoshop. And it's not a standalone tool, it's part of a selection, and it's called Feather. Anybody used Feather before or know about Feather?
Heard of it.
Well, you're about to learn. So what I'm going to do is I've got this guy sitting in the sand here, and he's kind of cool looking. And I'm going to take my selection tool and I'm going to do the elliptical marquee tool. And if you go up to the options, I've got feather says 30 because that's the last one I used. But I'm going to do it at 0. And this is so I can teach you what the feather tool is. And this takes a lot of practice to learn. Ask Pam Perkins, I teach her regularly, and it's taken a while to really understand what you can do with it. And so I'm going to demonstrate it for you. So I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to make a selection around him. And there is no feather, it's 0. And then I'm going to right click inside of here and I'm going to say layer via copy. So I just copied that guy. So now I can take him and I'm on the layer now. If you look over to the right, there's 2 layers now. And I'm going to move him over here. And now there's 2 guys. Now you'll notice that this horizon line was not completely flat or horizontal. It was off slightly. So I'd have to do Controller Command T and fix him to get him in the right spot. And then you could do the arrow keys to make it as perfect as you want. But it put him in place and it looks kind of interesting, but you get this hard edge here and he doesn't blend in very well. You can do a lot of work with cloning and other things, but that would be a waste of time because I'm going to clone him again with using the selection tool, marquee selection tool. This time I'm going to use a feather of 90. And I'm showing you this so that you'll understand really what the feather does. So I'm back to my bottom layer and this original guy. And I am going to say, same thing, layer via copy. And now this time I have 90 in the feather column. And I'm going to take him and I'm going to put him over next to the other guy. And I'm going to change the order of the layer. So now you can see this sharp edge of the guy that had 0 feather. Look at above the head of that guy.
Mm.
It blends in really well. As a matter of fact, it blends in pretty darn perfectly. So you don't see that edge. And that's what the feather does. It allows you to place objects uh, with same color gamut or same color spectrum. So if you're in monochrome, you want to stay in monochrome and you can do a feather and you can place an object back into that scene and it should be pretty seamless. If you were in color, you'd have to be in color and you'd have to be very careful about how you place something in there. But you can see how he's there. Now, the overlap here of that shows some softness there. And I could get rid of that if we want to. And I will do a feather of like 12. And this is a different selection tool because all I'm going to do is come down here and get rid of the overlapped area. And now we've got that.
How did you get rid of it? I didn't understand that.
I took the polygon selection tool and I can go back. I took the polygon selection tool and just went around that area.
I guess what's confusing is I can't see the overlap while you're doing that. So that's the overlap is from the second clone.
It's from this guy. He has 90 a 90-degree feather or a 90%
Oh, so
feather.
his feather's overlapping
So it
there.
It's
makes a
opacity.
soft edge around that edge.
Okay.
That is overlapping on that arm. And then I just select it and hit delete and get rid of that 90. So that feather is still there above him and everywhere else.
Now, can you do that and get rid of the arch on on the background?
This one,
Yeah.
yeah, so I have to get rid of that guy. I'll turn him off. I'll turn this guy back on and I'll do it with a square marquee this time just because you can use a selection. You just have to have a selection tool. And then I'm going to do the 90 feather. Well, actually, let me show you something. I'll just do a 50 feather. So we'll do something. This was 90. The one that I just turned off that layer, that was a 50, or excuse me, a 0. And that's why you got that hard edge. And now I'm going to do a 50. And I'm going to say layer via copy. And then this guy is at 50%. Now what I really should have done is made my canvas wider. Actually, I can show you so that these guys couldn't overlap, right? I could just have them sitting next to each other. So something about like that. Now you can also see the horizon line, so I have to fix that. And that's just Command or Control T. And you straighten it out and I hit the arrow key up to fix the horizon line. Now that's a 50. feather, but you can see there's still a line. So that wasn't enough. This guy, there's no line, there's no edge, and he was 90. Uh, so I'll do him again one more time. And that's the learning curve about the feather that makes things difficult, is that it takes a while to understand what feather you should be using. Okay, I'll leave him there. I'll turn that guy off. And then I'll go back to this bottom guy. And I'm going to get, that's 50. And you see how it rounds out the selection? Yeah, maybe it didn't take the 50 last time. Let me do that one more time because I don't remember seeing the rounded out. Gonna layer via copy. Yeah, it still has kind of a harder edge. Not as bad as what we saw, but so 90 was a good guess in my case of putting that in there. But you can make a really cool image out of this and have all these guys. I could just simply duplicate layers and whoops, I could duplicate enough layers that we've got a yoga retreat going on, you know. But it
So
just
Eric,
tells you from a
one thing,
quick,
one quick thing, the guy on the far left,
uh-huh.
his foot kind of got blurred. Would you clone another foot back on that foot, or what? How would you?
No, I just would have made the original selection much larger. I was too close
Okay,
because as you saw those rounded edges, it cuts into the image a little bit and outside of the image a little bit. It does both sides of the edge that you're trying to create there. And so I just had to make a bigger selection and it would have been fine.
so you go back and do it again.
Yeah. Uh, and then for this thing, this is starting to look weird now up here. So you could simply take your clone tool and make a big one. And here's a trick about the clone tool is that everybody wants you want to clone this, right? To make it more blend in with the rest, but everybody wants to use 100%. You don't have to use 100%. You can use something, I'm going to use something like 77% just as an idea here. And then you hit the Alt key to select what part of the image you're going to clone. Oh, you know what? We'll see if that works. I'm going to select that area that I want to clone. And then I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to drag across it. And then I'll come over this side and do the same thing and do some cloning. And it just smoothed that out. I'm not trying to make a perfect image. I'm really demonstrating the feather tool more than anything. But can you think of situations where you would want to feather an object into another object? If you go back to the truck, for example, maybe you want a farmer standing there next to the truck and you've got a separate picture of the farmer. You could do, you have to make him black and white first, but then you could feather him and drop him right in there. And it would be fairly seamless. A little
Wow.
harder with all this grass, but that's the idea. Uh, you can also use it, the feather, if you wanted to soften something. So if I wanted to, I'm going to select this uh, windshield. And let's say I wanted to fill it with, I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to fill it with light gray, just so we don't see the bullet holes because um, this is for a moms against guns or something. Uh, so we don't want to have any bullet holes. So I'm going to do edit. I've selected a very light gray here. I'm going to do edit and fill. And I'm going to say foreground color because that's where the top one is always the foreground. The back square over here is always the background color. And I'm going to fill that in. Now you can see what it did along the edges. See how that softness, it's the old windshield showing through. But you could then take that and change your opacity and
Mm.
you could show the bullet holes or you could reduce them, soften them. You could make it 100%. And if you wanted it to fill that windshield completely, you would have to do no feather because you'd have to select the edge of the windshield
Mm.
and go from there. Okay. So the last 10 or 15 minutes, I always spend talking about AI. And by the way, there was a Photoshop update today, which I haven't looked at. That's part of the reason I had to restart my computer. And uh, I haven't even looked at what the new stuff is in there. But I assume it's small incremental things because they made such vast changes in the last year. So I assume it's just incremental changes. But AI, for example, I'm going to just do something really quickly here. So I talked about adding a farmer. So now I'm going to add a farmer. And I will go to an area and say, all right, I want to add a farmer standing here. Actually, I'll give it a little more. And by the way, I don't know how Feather works with generative AI, by the way. Uh, so I'm just going to put 0 feather for right now. And maybe we'll try it with a feather and see how that does or does not affect it. But if I want a farmer standing there, I can go to generative fill here, and it's only going to use the selection area and says, what do you want to generate? And I say, add uh, farmer in overalls. Now, here's the key element here is that there's two things that I'm showing you here. You see this first little square? If you click on that, it will allow you to bring in your own picture of your own farmer. And then this is a legal image for our club for the non-story categories. Uh, you can click on this and it'll say, what image do you want to reference? And you can choose an image and it'll use that image and drop the farmer in there if you had a picture. If you don't have a picture, then you click on this next box and this gives you the options of things you can use. And I don't want Firefly. That's the Adobe image generator, and it's not very good. And I showed you a little bit about that last time. Uh, you want to use Gemini 3 with Nano Banana. And so I'm going to use Gemini 3. It says add farmer in overalls. and we'll generate, and I have no idea what it's going to do, but let's find out.
I hope it's a girl.
Yeah, could be.
Nah, won't be.
Probably won't be, but
Eric, of the AI tools out there, I've been hearing some about Claude recently. Does Claude do this sort of thing?
Claude does a pretty decent idea. It's not as good as Gemini with images, uh, but Claude's a very advanced tool. Uh, I've only used it for researching a few things about atoms, actually. Oh, there's your farmer.
He looks fake.
He does look kind of fake.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. It put him kind of in the background. I suppose I was thinking it might be like the guy standing there facing the camera or whatever.
Yeah, or facing the truck. That's what I was kind of hoping
Would
for.
it,
Could
would
you
it,
make him bigger? Could you spec it so he would be bigger or
Uh,
not?
And where you want it positioned.
well, it's on a separate layer, so I could just do Command or Control T, and then I can make him bigger. Now it's
But,
going to
but
make
also it didn't feather it very well,
it's
and that
also
would make it
making the
worse.
hill bigger. Now,
Yeah.
interesting, he's got a little pitchfork over his shoulder, and so let me just enter that for a second, and then I'll just actually I'll use a feather this time. I'm going to use a 40 pixel feather, and I'll erase all of that. Oh, okay. So here's a trick that they do, which I'm not crazy about, is they make you merge these things together before you can do that, or they turn into a smart object, which there's very little value of having a smart object for this in my estimation. But it's a smart object, so you can't just chop it up, or I was just going to delete that portion and use the existing sky. But that tells me something about how selections might be interpreted too. So I'm going to go and we're going to do this again. I'm going to turn this guy off. I'm going to try it again and see what it does a second time. I'm going to use the selection with the uh, feather, and I'm going to say, I'm on this layer, and I'm going to say, add farmer, actually add farm woman.
thank you.
We'll challenge it. Add farm
Well, we'll
woman.
see if she has a pitchfork or not.
Yeah, well, but I'm going to keep her in overalls, by the
Aw.
way. No Daisy Dukes. And I'm using Gemini Nano Banana Pro 3. Now you'll notice that since it's feather, it doesn't give me the option to use my own image, which is this right here.
Mm.
Interesting. Uh, anyway, let's generate it and see what I get.
Could you have said large, or could you given the size idea when you're describing it or not?
Yes, and I can do that. You can stack your prompts. In other words, I go back to this after it does it. I could then tell it, make the woman larger.
Ah,
Well, that's not a farm
oh,
woman, but that's more appropriate, right?
I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's better.
yeah,
except the front light is a little skewed.
Oh, yeah, that's why they're
There's
working
two
on
headlights.
That's why he's working on it. Yeah.
yeah.
it.
The license plate is a little elongated.
And it duplicated Washington. It also duplicated the headlight here.
Yeah.
It's
A
So could you
little bit of
move?
blur there. Yeah, wrecked the side of the truck a little bit too. But the but mountain and the sky are right.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, her
everything.
scale is fairly good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Now, here's the other thing to keep in mind with all this AI stuff. Uh, by the way, that looks like you, Harlan.
the,
ocean blurry.
the shirt's the wrong color.
Nah. Uh, Something to keep in mind is that I'm dealing with a relatively low resolution image. And so it added this
High res.
farmer in here at the correct resolution. If you had a high resolution image, it's not going to do it yet. In this version of Gemini Nano Banana Pro, if you had a 5,000 pixel image to start with, it's not going to do it. But with this image, that's image size is it is 1920. Yeah. Since it's 1920, it says, okay, I can do that. The same thing's true with have you used the um, enlarging or supersize thing? What's that called? Generative upscale.
Wow.
Generative upscale, you have to be under 2000 pixels to start with too. If you're over that, it won't upscale it. And that's all for now, right? They're going to retool that, and at some point you'll be able to do high
Eric,
res
is
images.
there going to be a category for AI, or how is this going to be integrated or not?
So that's one of the debates that's going on in the AI committee, which I'm on, Mercury's on, whether or not we say, yes, you can do all this fun AI stuff, only in an AI category. And but the limiter still has to be that you have to have your own image. So this would not qualify. Gemini Nano Banana generated that farmer. So that's not, if this was my image, then that farmer's not my image. That
Okay.
was made up somewhere.
But if the farmer was your image,
But if the
and you,
farmer, like I said, if you clicked on the one that said reference image and you had your own farmer, then yes, that's okay. As long as the subject is all yours, then you're okay. Your own images.
so this wouldn't be in creative though, it would be a whole different category.
Yeah, it would be an AI category where you uh, use one of your reference images. Actually, you could probably even do that in creative too, as long as all the images are your own instead of someone else's.
Mhm.
So what's the point of using someone else's image?
Uh, if you were a influencer, then you could do that. That would be the point. Or if you were trying to sell these images, you could sell these images, but just not in a professional photo club. It's not going to fly there. But I could take this image and say, this is where was this? Death Valley or where were you?
Palouse, no, Palouse.
Well, this really changes the image. I mean, it makes it one hell of an image when, when you fix everything, the windshield and the headlight and the license plate. I mean, just look at this.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. But it's cheating.
it
Well,
is
for commercial
cheating.
people, uh, they'd be using this kind of stuff because the client just wants a particular type of image, and
Yeah,
this allows them to make it quickly. And then he looks at it and says, "No, no, 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 I want this changed and that changed." So for
right.
guys just doing professional stuff,
Yeah,
graphics artists,
right. And I come from that background,
yeah,
advertising, graphic design, and my client, I would take them something like this, and they go, you know what? I would like that farmer to be 30 years younger. And then I'd
Right.
have to go out and photograph a new farmer to put him in the image. But with AI, you just generate it. And advertising agencies are thrilled with AI, I'm sure,
Yeah.
just not professional photographers. So,
Wow, different world.
Very impressive, though. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
pretty cool what you can do.
Actually, adding that person actually really improves that photograph.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Other
And
other than, the license plate and the light thing, but if it was done correctly, that's really a pretty interesting image.
yeah, it is. I agree. I agree. And those would be easy things to fix in just by cutting out part of that license plate and a few things with the layers. I could fix that pretty easily.
What clone stuff?
I'm sorry, what?
Maybe clone stuff.
You could, well, in the layer
Yeah.
that was generated, see, it's perfect there. So you just have to modify that layer and get rid of that second headlight and
Well,
get
you
rid
could
of
do
the
a
license
mask that
plate.
just has the farmer, couldn't you?
Yeah,
Take
yeah,
the generated image and mask it,
right.
layer, and then all you have is the farmer.
Yep, yep. So you don't have to show the entire image.
You'd have to fix the license plate too, but
Well, the license plate wouldn't be included. You wouldn't include
Right.
the,
yeah,
So
right.
watch.
If you
I
cut
all
out
you
the
turn,
would do
license
is just
plate and
include the farmer.
see,
right,
I turn off the layer, the license plate's fine, and the
Yeah.
so
All
I
you
turn
want
the
the
layer
farmer.
back on. I would just have to mask around his glove and around that one headlight, and then delete that from the image
Yeah.
from that layer.
Hmm.
Well, that guy was a bust, but that guy's great.
he's
Yeah.
lazy. He's over there not paying attention.
All right, well, that's our time. I'm happy to ask or answer any more questions. If anyone wants to talk about something, I can stay for a little longer, but that's our time for our SIG time.
Yeah, that was good.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you. And that was very creative at the end there.
With the farmer.
Yeah. Yeah. I want
I,
to enter that photo in something.
yes, the farm woman.
Well, it looks like she has a ponytail, so
Yeah, yeah. Well, that could be a male though.
uh,
It's a bandana.
That looks like a
oh,
guy
it's
to
a band.
me.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a guy. The
He has blonde
hands,
hair.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a guy.
The
They
hippie farmer.
screwed up.
He's an old hippie.
yeah, very old hippie.
Really blended in with the grass amazingly well.
Yeah, phenomenal, right? It outlined him. You can see right here in his glove that his hand
Glove.
is almost inside of the grass. So
Right.
that'd be another thing that'd have to be masked, but
Can you look at just the image in layer?
I can turn off the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you remember I had a feather.
Yeah.
So what I would have to do, and let me see if it'll let me do it with this layer that I'm on right now. Let me see if it'll let me do it. Uh, I'm going to just create a quick selection here. And this is good lesson for feather because you can see what it does, right? And let me see if it'll let me delete that. No. Okay. And then I'll turn it back on. There we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I just had to affect the mask in
Yeah.
that layer. And the other way I would have done it is merge the layers together so that I could then do that on the layers. But this is, you can see this to the right-hand side. This is the mask for
Yeah.
the farmer. And I just took a bite out of it in order to make it work.
Mary Ellen, you could make some money with this photo.
Well, I'd have to change the scale of the farmer. It looks a little small.
I don't know. He's on his knees there.
To me, it's pretty good.
I think it's good.
Yeah,
I
I
really
think it
think it's
scales
good.
pretty
He's
good.
squatting, so it makes sense.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think Mary Ellen's actually got a point that the farmer would be a little taller. Look at the hood of the truck. That makes the truck huge in comparison. I didn't see it before, but I think Mary Ellen's right.
He's a
Well-
little person.
No, she's on, the person is on the knee.
Right.
You can see that pretty clearly, and then you can see the left knee kind of up in the air. I think that scaled pretty good.
Me too.
She's not standing up. She's kneeling down. She's kneeling on the ground.
Yeah, that woman farmer, she's little.
He's a
Now the
little person.
background and the mountains are off. There you go.
Yeah, once again, you'd have to make a separate selection and then expand. But yeah, actually, I think this works because otherwise the hat is going to be up above those hills unless you expand the hills too. So, but fun stuff. And if once again that was your photograph of the farmer, Mary Ellen, then you could take it from a different picture and drop it in here, and it's all legal in monochrome.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Really interesting. Thank you, Eric.
Yep. Thanks, Eric.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Okie dokie.
And happy tax day.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for that. Thank
You've
you.
already gotten it done.
And
Yeah.
since I sold a house at the end of last year, I single-handedly are bringing down the national debt by half.
I'll bet.
That was amazing checks to write. Yeah, state
Ouch.
and federal. Never wrote a check that big in my life.
You had to write it really small, right?
Yeah, I made tiny type.
You needed one of those real long checks.
Yeah, yeah, you kind of did.
Yeah, I have the short checks, but for big numbers, you need the really long checks.
Yeah.
Oversized.
All right, folks.
All right.
Oh.
Thanks again.
Do you want a copy of this, Mary Ellen, for any reason?
Yeah, send it to me for fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
She's going to put it on her wall.
I'm going to submit it and you all have to vote for it.
Yeah, that's right. We'll all be going, shh. It's a woman.
I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
Take
Bye-bye.
care, folks. We'll catch up next time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.